everybody. I am so excited to be here and talk to you all about IstioCon. So a little bit of introduction about me is I work for Solo, which Tess mentioned. I've been working on the Istio project since beginning. It's about 5 years now. In fact, we celebrate Istio's birthday last week in Valencia, and I believe the official birthday is actually this Tuesday. So, fifth birthday. This is a diagram I drew last year at Istio's birthday last year. Certainly, it's reusable. So happy fifth birthday to Istio, which we all love. Now, I'd like to share with you guys some of the exciting metrics from the event team. So we had close to 4,000 people register for IstioCon across 120 countries. This year, we learned lesson from last year. So for China region, we actually have been using this Bilibili platform in China. So we've got a lot of viewers also from the Chinese audience. So the key thing is the satisfaction score is really, really high, 4.5. You know, imagine you go to Amazon and purchase stuff, right? When was the last time you gave a 5 or 4? A lot of people doesn't really take time to, you know, to rate the product or the conference unless they really like it or unless they really hate it. So thank you all for give us a positive, really positive rating. A little bit about the platform for this year's IstioCon. We actually have the captioning. I know some of you may not like it when your English is really, really well, and you know exactly what the speakers are talking about, but some of our audience, their English may not be as good as you. So the live captioning was really, really helpful for them. And we also had a listening session, actually 3 listening sessions focused on upgrade, tonometry, and community engagement, which I will share some of the results as well. We have more than 20 users participated in IstioCon and share with us their story of using Istio, how, you know, they adopt Istio, how they build solutions on top of Istio for their user. So these are really cool. We also had 4 platinum sponsors at IstioCon, which you probably all know, so I'm not going to repeat all that. This slide is really exciting. I guess my dream is to kind of travel to many places as safe kind of gets to, right? So it's just fascinating to see, you know, we have audience from so many countries, right? Not just United States, not just India, you know, we have it from UK, Mexico, France, Australia, Japan, Spain, which I just went last week. It's just really, really cool to see all these people join from all the countries pretty much. Let's see. So interestingly enough, 76% of the attendees are either evaluating Istio for production usage or have already tried one example, but haven't really used it yet. So these are potential over-users down the road as customers or users adopting Istio, running Istio in production. And we have 28% of attendees were in leadership position, right? They are engineering leads, CISOs, and technology leads. So these are the key decision makers in the organizations. Most popular sessions, you know, honestly, I feel the data is a little bit biased. You know, I think these top 5 sessions, they have the most number of viewers simply because they were in day one. They were in the morning of day one keynote, right after the day one keynote, which makes sense, right? When you go to the conference, the first day you are energetic, you want to make sure you get the whole sense of the conference. So it's not surprising the top most popular session happens to be the first 5 sessions we have in day one. And these are the most popular sessions in Chinese. Honestly, I didn't have time to catch up with any of our Chinese sessions, but I think they are also like at the beginning of the top 5 sessions of that day. These are the Chinese platform, Bilibili. We got over 800 attended. As you can see, most of the people are on the first day. These are a little bit stats about our workshop. We actually got interesting feedback. We should do more workshops. So thank you for providing those feedback. We will definitely consider more workshops. This year, a little bit unfortunately, we've only run workshop and giving the sponsors, the platinum sponsors. So all these workshops are a little bit out of control of the program committee that we couldn't, like pick a good workshop. We essentially asked the sponsor to tell us what they wanted to do with the workshop. Overall, we had a lot of sessions. I've actually heard from lots of audience. It's really, really a lot throughout the week. They've been happy learning, from the speakers along with the workshop and listening sessions. So 51 sessions in English, that is a lot, along with 12 sessions in Chinese. These are some wonderful feedbacks from our attendees. I'm going to not going to read every one of them, but it just puts a smile on the organizing committee and also the entire Istio project, like the maintainers, members of the project, right? When we see the participants really enjoy the single track, make it so easy. They feel empowered to use Istio. They feel they are aware of the future of the project. They have good information in their hand. These are just amazing feedback from the audience. We also had an interesting networking event. How many of you actually joined the networking event? If you can give me something, an emoji, or maybe in the chat, just let us know. I heard it's really, really fun. 8% were very satisfied, right? And 32% were satisfied. I personally didn't get to go because I'm not very good at the riddles and answer questions, because I solo actually had an escape room just early this year, and I did very, very bad. But for folks who went there, what I've heard, it's really, really fun. And typically you have to pay $50 to do this type of events. So IstioCon is just so nice. We provide this for free. So hopefully next year we'll have more user attendees willing to engage with our networking events. And these are the amazing impact of the project from the Twitter handler of Istio Mesh. How much follower are we growing? Close to 2,000. And how much Twitter impression we generated. And how much of the users are Istio.io users since April. Now, let's get to a couple of key takeaways. For me personally, not only as a program co-chair, but also as an attendee, because I actually did attend most of the sessions when I can, especially the sessions in English. I would say from talking to different people, watching the news and Twitter, everyone is so excited about the Google's intention to donate Istio to CNCF. this is real, right? Not just we talk about it with Google actually 4 years ago. This is actually a PR out there, you know, actively being reviewed in CNCF. And this is like announced in the keynote, also announced in Istio.io blog. So this time is real. If you are excited about this announcement, please give us an emoji or something in the chat. So we know you are also very, very excited about this. The second key takeaway for me is what's next for Istio is getting boring. And this is probably very, very reasonable for a project that's 5 years old, right? Because Louis and Eric Van Norman gave a great presentation on the roadmap of Istio on Wednesday. And it's interesting, a lot of things I caught up on the roadmap is promotion functionality to be stable, to be beta, like Helm, right? I know it's a lot of our users are asking about Helm because you're really interested in Helm. You want to see that to be beta, you want to be comfortable with Helm. So that's one thing, you know, on our roadmap to be promoted to beta. We also have a bunch of other things, you know, we really want the project to be stable. We want the project to be, you know, you feel comfortable that you can use it and not disruptive for your upgrades. So anything related to making you running Istio in production for day 2 is literally the focus of the roadmap. Throughout the week, I would say, you know, from what I heard, upgrades and also security are the top concerns. It's no surprising. Many of our users are looking into Istio because of mutual TLS, because the fact that they can put delegate to Istio to handle secure communication of their services, like service authorization on top of mutual TLS, and rotate that key and certificate before it expires, because they don't want to manage these key and certs. It's actually really hard to get it wrong. So upgrade and security, there's a couple of talks related to this, which I highly encourage you guys to check it out. So for instance, Mitch did a great talk on how he upgraded 3,000 paths during sleep. So he did an interesting demo how to do that through pipeline, you know, how to automate the whole thing. It's very interesting. Ram from Solo did a great talk on upgrade best practice from lots of customer he worked with at Solo. So that's, if upgrade is a concern and you need a little bit guidance, definitely check out those talks. Security, there are a couple of talks related to security. If you're a beginner, I would definitely check out Jacob from F5 Aspen Mesh. He did a great talk on a beginner's guide to Istio security. There was also a Google member, Leighton. He talked about Istio security best practice, so definitely was check that out. Me and Josh did a talk on external CA, which we believe you will need if you're running Istio in production, because the default self-signed is not going to work for you 90% time, I bet. So that might be worth checking out. And then I would say the hottest topic in the service mesh industry, especially me just coming back from Service Mesh Con and also KubeCon last week, is around eBPF and Service Mesh and how they are going to be related to each other. How are we going to position them? There are a couple of talks from the conference, definitely worth checking out. I think I might have a slide on that, so I'll get to that And I really hope the project is going to bring some clarity to our user really soon on this topic, because not just Istio users are confused a little bit. We've also heard Linkerd user, Cilium user, a lot of users are a little confused in this. So I thought it's actually pretty fun to pull out a couple of slides that talk about what's next. So these are the slides from what's next from our user community. For example, this is from Splunk, right? They got single cluster working. Now they're focusing on multi-cluster. They want to look at, workload resilience, right, across different clusters. So their cluster, their services can continuously to be green when the services maybe goes down in one cluster, but still running in the other cluster. Advanced traffic in this case, right? Be aware of the zones and be able to route the traffic to the closest zone that has the service available. So that's pretty interesting from Splunk. By the way, I think Bert from Splunk did a really good job on his talk too. The next thing I thought it would be fun is our friends from Ericsson. I think they are from the Ericsson open source team, Frizilla and Ingo. They talk about what's next for them as a user. Certainly multi-tenancy is huge for them, and also dual stack. And also eBPF, right? We talk about eBPF, service mesh, proxies, gRPC, non-HTTP integration with external CA, and also gracefully shut down. So these are not surprising, probably, if you are using Istio. These are really very common topic from a lot of our users. In fact, there are good talks this at IstioCon talk about multi-tenancy. I believe Alex and Will from Solo gave a great talk on how multi-tenancy works and how to do it in the hard way with Istio. That's one of the top 5 most favorite talks we talked about earlier. Dual stack is something we are developing in upstream. I think right now it's, if I'm correct, there may be some PR out there, but it's not fully working, or at least not at a stage that a user can try it. But Ericsson, and in fact, is actually pretty involved in upstream to help driving that. So it's really nice for us to see user being able to, take a feature they really need in their environment and be able to continue working in upstream to help drive that in the open source project too. I believe this is from Salesforce. So Rama and one of his other coworkers, which I forgot the name, gave a great talk on advanced user usage of Istio. In case you guys don't know, Salesforce has been a very advanced user of Istio. They're probably the exceptional, because they've been contributing to Istio probably for 4 years, 3-4 years, and they even gained a seat on steering committee last year. So that shows you how much they contribute to Istio. And for them, it's really interesting. They share their perspective about cluster, primary cluster high availability, right? What if Istio goes down? How they're going to be active, because they are running in this primary remote model, which I actually don't recommend. I like primary model better, because if my Istio D is down, right, it doesn't impact any other cluster, just in my local cluster. And scale is a huge thing on their mind too for next phase. How do you do optimization for config push, for example, how to support more proxy. So these are really interesting topics that, it's definitely aligns with the upstream roadmap of day 2 operation, how to make day 2 operation easier for our user. Let's see, this is from another customer. I think the customer is from Japan. It's like a shopping e-commerce type of company from Japan called Zuzu. What's interesting about them is, they've also adopted Istio. They are looking at Istio Next for resilience and DevOps experience. So, upgrades is certainly, one of the key things on their mind too, along with multi-cluster and Canary deployment with progressive delivery. So this are not surprising. And we see this a lot with our user, always start with single cluster and then figure out, how to run them, how to keep up with Istio security patches, latest releases, and then how to expand and grow into more than one cluster. And last not the least on what's next is what Louis and Eric talk about Istio Day 2, Istio roadmap about continue focus on Day 2 operation. eBPF and sidecar and service mesh, these are the hottest topic around service mesh industry these days. A couple of interesting talk from my coworker, Christian, is about virtualizing Istio sidecar. Well, he talked about different models of running sidecar. So definitely worth checking that out. And also Edith, who's my boss, she talked about sidecar this with eBPF or sidecar with Envoy proxy, how eBPF could potentially working in the service mesh environment like Istio, how eBPF can accelerate service mesh adoption, and how Envoy may be complementary with eBPF, where Envoy can focus on higher layer like layer 7, and maybe eBPF focus on a lower layer. So definitely worth check out Edith's talk. Kirby Liu, who is the Istio steering committee member. He did a great talk also on the Murbridge project, right? Using eBPF to accelerate the network paths of your paths when you run in sidecar to your application container, right? Instead of traversing different hubs within your pod from the proxy, sidecar proxy to get to your container, using eBPF to shortcut the network connection. Let's see. Listening session. I think the most successful popular listening session is the upgrade listening session. We have a couple of users very vocal, which I captured a couple of things, they said about upgrade, which I thought was very interesting. Helm is certainly a big thing. People really love to use Helm. It's probably not a news that most of our users wait until patch, at least one patch, like Istio 1.13.1. Some users even wait a few patches before they evaluate the release. Some of our users really love Canary, right? They believe Canary has been a game changer for them to help them simply move to newer Istio version without disruptive. But we've also seen users used to use Canary, but now fall back to in place because Canary is still complicated when comparing with in place. So, when I look at the feedback like this, I'm like, okay, it's really cool. Istio is like a toolbox, right? We offer Helm, we offer revision-based deployment, we offer in-place deployment, and you basically do what's best for you based on your business needs, and also how many people you have, how many staff you have. So now I want to ask you guys, what is your favorite session? I believe, does anyone have authority to speak up? I think so.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so if you are open to share, please do. And, just unmute yourself and share with the audience. What's your favorite session?
Does anyone want to share what's your favorite session?
Oh, we got Mitch here. Mitch, can I call on you to share?
How are you? Yeah, I loved the WP Engine session. It was one of the lightning talks, so it was really brief, but it was packed full of how WP Engine is deriving business value from their use of Istio, and it helps that it was given by a friend of mine, so I really enjoyed that.
That's great. I do like that session too. I think it's a WP workplace, right? Oh, is it just WP? Oh, yeah. So how workplace engine use Istio to accelerate building products? I find our lightning talk has been really cool. Like I've learned so much with our lightning talk. Yeah, so I'm going to call people's name. Thank you, Mitch, for sharing that. Daniel, what's your favorite session?
Oh, I'm going to be the first one, huh?
After Mitch.
I actually didn't have one specific favorite. I kind of liked them all. I learned a lot when in one of the eBPF, I've totally forgot the title of it by now, but the eBPF I found the most, for me, exciting.
This one?
Yes, yeah, it was by Eat It.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, there are actually lots of really good sessions. It's hard to pick one. I totally agree with that. Anyone else open to share? What's their favorite session? Oh, if you have any feedback for the conference, that's totally cool. Now that we got Mitch also here, we'd love to hear, anything you are willing to share. Okay, I think our audience is a little bit quiet. Let me pick one name, see if I get a response.
Yes.
Brian, can you share?
Brian, are you here?
Yeah, and if you're talking, unmute yourself first.
Hello, hello.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd like to share. So I love
go ahead.
TLS origination best practices was a wonderful presentation. TLS originations best practice. Here we solved some problems in our company with this solution. It was fantastic.
That's awesome. I believe also Aspen Mesh actually contributed that feature to Istio. It's exciting to also talking about this and solving the user scenario for you guys. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's great to hear. All right. Anyone else? Do we have Louise or Mark? Are you open to share?
I'm searching, I can't find the session, but it was from somebody at Google about how to create aggregate SLIs and SLOs. And it just happened to be the project I'm working on. So it was super great information that I needed to hear like that same day. So
that's great to hear. I think I know that session. Mitch, it's one of your coworkers. I think I forgot. It's your product manager.
Yeah, was that the Anthony Roman or Amir Abbas?
Maybe the later one, now that I'm thinking.
Yeah, he had a talk, I think, on 8 a.m. on Thursday. There it is, near the bottom of the screen. Multi-cluster, multi-regional, multi-tenant. Is that what we're talking about?
Yes, I think so. This one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, thanks. I'll pass the compliment along.
Yeah. All right. Justin, do you have anything you want to share? All right. No pressure. Yeah, so that's all I have, Taz.